Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, I'm Sonic the Hedgehog here, and I'm back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more Let's Play of Klonoa / Klonoa Daughter Phantom Isle remake for the Nintendo Wii. So, last time we did manage to able to completely done with the forms of Vision 6-1, and especially noticeable with Vision 6-2, and we managed to beat the likes out of Guardius for, well, for progress this time around though, and especially noticeable we did manage to rescue the final 12 of those little villagers, so naturally every single part about the forms of every single levels are 100% completion, except the fact that, well, most likely the forms of how it does in the original game is the fact that, as you can see by the little crystal icons, meaning about the fact that in order to actually 100% fully about that particular levels, is that you need to collect every single of those crystals, which for me, I'm probably not going to do that just because they are entirely optional, and plus besides that, it will probably be a waste of time for my part. So, yeah, today for this video is the fact that we're about to be continuing on and moving on to the final vision of the game, which after all, that, you know, we did manage to take down Guardius for, from the last video, so even then though, now we need to focusing on one huge enemy, and that is of course, Nahatomb, the final boss in the game.
What are these?
Moon cannons that have been passed down for generations. We don't have much time. Listen closely, everyone. These cannons must be fired at the same time or they'll have no effect. The 5 of us will man the cannons. You two will have the job of handing us ammunition.
Ammunition?
Inflated enemies should do the trick, right?
He's here!
Corral, you stay back.
So obviously here we go with the, you know, the final vision of the game, and basically we need to face off against with, you know, Nahatomb, the final boss of the game. And just like the original PlayStation version is that, obviously, that, this final boss actually retains 3 phases. Even though the first phase is very simple, basically we need to summon those little, inflatable enemies onto those moon cannons, even though there are 5 of them in total. But once you're done with that section, then surely you can able to move on to the next section. See, Fernando, because as I said this before, this final boss actually retains 3 sections. So even though, or in this case, 3 phases. I still find that tongue ability, or that tongue attack, to be a lot more difficult to avoid, just because, well, for one thing, it just comes off as really iffy timing, or what have you, to me though. But that's only because I just managed to did not expect to see how, he's able to actually just utilize that attack. So, and one thing to keep in mind is the fact that he doesn't look that much intimidating to me though, apart from the fact that he's made out of almost like a plastic model, which even though sure looks a bit creepy enough, well, until the 3rd and final phase anyway, but even then though, that's just a little bit of a time, my knowledge in that department. So even though once you place all 5 of those enemies in these separate cannons, then obviously the first phase is pretty much done. But if you think this boss fight was over, as I said before, that this final boss actually retains, you know, 3 phases. So So now we're moving on to the second phase of the fight, where basically we need to destroy all 4 of those crystals between the bottom left, bottom right, and especially noticeable on the top left and the top right. So even though, and keep that in mind, you need to utilize the tilted platform especially as well, just in case you can able to actually destroy those crystals no matter what. So, but after when you're done with all that, he summons the forms of the last crystal, which meaning that we need to aim for that specific crystal that is usually flying around all over the place, and I think you have to hit it twice. So even then, though, that's how you essentially get to do with this boss fight. So, but I will admit though right away is the fact that trying to able to actually attack the actual like floating crystal in this version to get a little bit tricky, just because, well, I swear to God, I was a little bit off for that aiming shot. So even then though, that keep that in mind, because even then though, it was meant to be the final boss of the game after all. But sometimes though, my timing skills wasn't exactly the most accurate. But even then though, once you're able to actually just trying to able to use the enemies once again, and use them as projectiles and aiming for the crystal, then that was it. That was the second phase of the actual final boss. But now it's time for the real meat of the deal, and that is of course the third and final phase of the entire boss fight. So, here we go then.
Oh, man. That didn't go too well, guys.
Is everybody alright?
Listen to me. We're going to stay out of sight down here. The floating platform should offer some protection.
Guess there's no choice. We're counting on you two to pass the enemies to us between the platforms.
Alrighty, time to deal with the forms of the third and the final phase of, you know, Nahatomb, the actual final boss. And basically, it's a lot harder than the forms of how it does it on the first phase, and it's a good thing I died right there because, well, thankfully though, you don't have to redo the entire boss fight again every time you die. So even then though, you respawn after when you're able to get into that current section you're in. So even then though, it doesn't matter if you're able to die several times. Although, the only time you would able to get the mistake though, is the fact that, well, obviously this entire third and final phase is the fact that it plays exactly like how it did on the first phase, except the fact that, well, it's a lot harder because obviously the platforms now actually spread out, and especially noticeable of how the fact that he actually managed to deal with the, some more intense, powerful attacks. Like, for instance, Destinate all of these, well, not so much all of the platforms, but to be more accurately though, 3 platforms, that's to be exact. So even I know, and it's also all about timing accuracy too, about with, you know, trying to drop down these enemies onto those moon cannons, and then, you know, just like the first phase, once you're done with all 5 of those cannons, then the entire final boss will be, well, demolished. So even then, though, that's as far as I can say about this, you know, this final boss of the game. Well, at least it doesn't matter what version you'll be playing through, either the original PlayStation version, or essentially with the, oh god, that was really close. So anyways, let's go ahead and just fire up the last moon cannon, which appears to be for blue. Then, again, as I said before, once all 5 of those cannons has been placed, then there we go. Enjoy the ending to Klonoa for the Nintendo Wii. With English dub voices, of course.
Alright, this is it, Klonoa. We're almost done.
What do you mean?
To finish him off, you're gonna have to shoot me into Nahatomb with a wind bullet.
But Yupo, wait a minute. If I do that, what will happen to you?
Don't worry, it'll be fine. I promise. We'll always be together. I know we can win this. We just have to make this last shot.
Yupo. Okay, let's do it.
Fire now, Klonoa!
Here we go!
Thank you so much, everyone. Now all the nightmares have at last disappeared.
said that we'd always be together!
We are together, Klonoa. We're together forever.
Hugo, you're okay! Whoa!
It's okay. I'm just a little tired, that's all.
Don't worry, Hugo. I got you. I won't let you go.
And now it's time to see the saddest scene of the entire cutscene wise.
Are you feeling any better today, Hugo?
Yeah.
You just have to take it easy and rest. After all, you don't have to worry about Nahatomb now. Hey, Hugo, listen. I was just wondering, are you gonna go back to the Moon Kingdom? But we'll see each other again soon, right? Hey, let's go and hang out in the field together, like we did before.
Listen, Klonoa.
Hmm?
I have to tell you something. You see, you're really... well, you really don't exist in this world.
What do you mean?
We needed to restore the balance of dreams. So I brought you here from your world to help us do that.
What are you talking about?
I'm sorry, but it's true. This world that we're in, it isn't the world of your reality.
But that's impossible. You're wrong. There's no way that can be true. I mean, I remember my whole life here. I remember when I met you. And how we'd hang out and play together.
Well, that's because I actually created all those memories for you. But none of it really happened. You were just made to think that it all did.
You're lying! That's a lie! That can't be! You're lying to me!
No, it's not a lie. It's the truth. The strange dream that Gaudius talked about was caused because the reality that you come from is considered nothing more than a strange dream in this world.
It can't be.
When the feast sings her song so the world can be reborn, you won't be able to stay in this world anymore.
No way! I'm not going anywhere, and nobody's gonna make me go!
Klonoa, you don't understand. You don't know how much I wish I could change things.
What's that? Whoa! Huh?
Klonoa, the time has come for you to go back. Back to your Phantom Isle.
No way! But I don't want to go! I don't want to go! No! Hugo!
Klonoa! Klonoa!
Hugo! Hugo! No! Hugo!
Oh jeez, it always gets to me with that specific scene alone. It doesn't really matter if it's either the PlayStation version or the Nintendo Wii counterpart. Jeez, that scene makes me almost feel teary and emotional at the same time. But I digress. So, obviously that Klonoa was now moved on to his own version of Phantom Isle or something like that. Or perhaps maybe because in the future games, most notably on the Bandai WonderSwan console handheld, which appears to be Moonlight Museum, which, again, I wish I wasn't able to tackle for that Let's Play, but because it's only a Japan-only game, and plus, I'm having a little bit of a struggle to be able to actually access to the actual Bandai WonderSwan emulator and stuff like that. Or actually, I'll talk about more details about the forms of several other, well, you know, you probably get the idea. So even then, though, let's give my final thoughts of Klonoa for the Nintendo Wii as a remake. So, as a remake of Klonoa Daughter Phantom Isle, which is easily my favorite PlayStation game of all time, and that could be same applies for the remake as well, even though there are some questionable things I was able to actually just to say about this version more than the forms of how it does it after when I played the original game at long last, is that, well, this version of the game is actually a little bit more easier than the forms of how it does it on a PlayStation version, most notably with the actual, the controls, and especially noticeable with, in this version of the game you do have more health than the forms of how it does it in the usual 3 or 6, if you want to able to expect to that, because in this version of the game you get like 10 pieces of hearts, because, you know, with the half, you know, heart, icons and stuff, so that probably explains why that most players who haven't experienced the original game before then able to actually pick it up on the Nintendo Wii instead. So, plus as a matter of fact, well, despite the actual commercial failure, sadly, but at least this version of the game wasn't nearly as expensive as the original version was, because, well, I don't understand why that the original game didn't able to actually, well, usually just cost so many, so expensive as far as the cash and money as far as I'm concerned, but even then, that's besides the point. So, but everything else about this version though, I actually do enjoy, like the same applies to the forms of the PlayStation version, like for instance, the music is very, very catchy, it's also really relaxing as well. And especially noticeable with the actual story itself, although some people seem to say the Wii version story was a little bit underdeveloped because of, well, I just don't know how to explain about this. So even then though, although I'll get to my true final thoughts of this though, until whenever we get to tomorrow's video, which is supposed to be the finale of this particular Let's Play. So join me next time on Let's Play Klonoa for the Nintendo Wii. Is the fact that we'll be able to get started with the extra version, plus some of these extra features only on the Wii version. So see you guys then.